It's probably just like all art, water scale or something.
All right, we'll call to order the City of West Bend Licensing Board for June 15th at 6:25. And note that we have 9 items on the agenda. The first is approval of the minutes, of the Licensing Board regular minutes, or regular meeting minutes of June 1st, 2020.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. It's been motion second. And any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Wonderful. Next up is item number 2, operator's license for Divine Welch with a presentation by Chief Moyler.
Good evening. The police department is recommending denial of this license based upon a number of violations, drug and alcohol. It started in 2016, and last one was a conviction just this last couple of weeks on June 4th. I can go through them quickly. March of 16, possession of marijuana and paraphernalia. She was found guilty. July of 16, possession of marijuana and paraphernalia, found guilty. August of 18, possession of illegally obtained prescription medication, possession of marijuana and paraphernalia, found guilty. Possession of marijuana and paraphernalia in November of 18, found guilty. December of 18, possession of controlled substance, possession of marijuana, paraphernalia, and drug and bail jumping. Found guilty of most of those counts, and the rest were read in. May of 19, possession of alcohol by an underage person, found guilty. And then February of this year, she was stopped and arrested for drunk driving, and she was a .16 on that date, and on June 4th, she was found guilty of that OWI. So for that history, we are recommending denial of her license.
Thank you, Chief. Is Ms. Welch in the audience? Feel free to step up to the podium and let us know what's on your mind.
Okay, first of all, my voice is really shaky because I'm kind of nervous. I have a lot riding on this alcohol license. Earlier this year, I got hired at Krimmer's Restaurant. I'm the head server now at Krimmer's Restaurant, and that's the main reason why I applied for this alcohol license. We don't have a main bartender at Krimmer's Restaurant, so my title there is a server, but in order to serve my people, I need to be able to make their drinks as well up at the bar and be able to work by myself, being the head server there. So I applied for this liquor license just to be able to work by myself and have that job there. I also work 2 jobs. I work at Supercuts over by Menards. I also have 2 letters here from both of my jobs, just stating that I do work 2 jobs. I've been sober for 4 months since I got my DUI. I've made a lot of choices in the past that I don't want to keep living. And I'm trying really hard to change my life around. So, I'm sorry, I'm emotional.
It's all right. Thank you. Ms. Welch, just keep in mind that we take this process and the chief's recommendation pretty seriously. The process from here is it'll go from the licensing board, and then the recommendation will go to the full common council when we meet tonight. So I'd encourage you to stick around. And if I could please have a motion.
Make a motion for recommend denial.
Thank you. Been a motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Wonderful. Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, Class A combination license renewals.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, Class B wine-only winery renewal.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Item number 5, Class B beer license renewal.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Item number 6, Class B combination license renewals.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on those? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Item number 7, Reserve Class B combination license renewals.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 8, Amusement Arcade license renewals.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And finally, number 9, Massage Establishment renewal.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And with that, I will adjourn the licensing board.
I would like to call the Board of Public Works. We have 3 items on the agenda. Item 1, Board of Public, regular meeting from June 1st, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Any questions, changes?
Yeah, I noticed on the meeting minutes, the mayor is listed as an attendee. And the mayor is not a member of either the Finance Committee or the Board of Public Works. And I'd move to strike that on a go-forward basis.
Okay, sounds good. With that, we have a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye with the amendment. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, item number 2, award contract 20-04, install new sidewalk and remove and replace sidewalk at various locations. Max, good evening.
Good evening, thank you. This item is our yearly item for the sidewalk contract that we do throughout the city. Every year we bid out to remove and replace sidewalks based on staff inspection or complaints received, trip and fall reports, etc. In the past few years, we have used a process where we split our areas in specific groups, and we bid with base bid and an alternate or 2 based on what we think we can accomplish within our budget. We've started using this because in the past, sometimes we had surprises with the concrete cost, and then we would come out with bids higher than the budget that we have, and then we end up doing nothing that year because we have to reject the bids. So using this method, we can at least do as much sidewalk as we can for that year. So the bids were open on Friday, June 5th, and you have 3 bids that we received that are listed on your memo. We have a base bid and 2 alternates, and based on the numbers we received, we are able to award base bid and alternate 1. We reviewed the low bid, and we also reviewed the qualification of BMCI Construction, the low bidder. BMCI Construction recently acquired TP Concrete, who's a company that has been awarded this contract several times in the past, and we've been satisfied with their work. And for all these reasons, we would recommend that the base bid and alternate 1 of this contract in the amount of $144,075 be awarded to BMCI Construction at the unit prices in their bid, as well as a contingency fund of $7,925, about 5.5% of the contract amount or the bid amount, for a total allocation not to exceed $152,000 for the sidewalk repairs this year.
Okay, do you have any motion?
Motion to approve.
Are there any questions for Max?
Max, is there a reason that we don't bid it in smaller chunks so that instead of, a base bid and then alternate one, alternate two, it seems like maybe 4 or 5 alternates might get us further down the road.
Yes, the reason for that is in the base bid, we put all the items that could potentially become a liability for the city. All the complaints, all the trip and falls, all those things that we need to address promptly to avoid any liability suit in the future. So we place all this in the base bid. And then for the alternates, what we do is that we look at locations where we have recently reconstructed roads. So if we did like Sunset Drive or Sylvan Way, we do all the sidewalk in that area, and then we put that as an alternate instead of splitting that area in multiple smaller alternates. That's why we use this setting of the base bid and 2 alternates. The reason that we concentrate on areas is that we want to give the contractors opportunity to work in one area instead of having to go all over the city. So we select areas like that to maximize or to minimize, I should say, contractor traveling to the city and mobilizing their equipment.
Anyone else? Okay, if not, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Item number 3, award contract 20-12 Riverside Park Tennis Court and Basketball Court resurfacing. Cindy, good evening.
Good evening. This is pretty much similar to what we did at Regner Park with the tennis courts last year, except this is the basketball and tennis courts at Riverside Park. So this is putting armor crack repair over all of those seams from the old asphalt. When they applied the asphalt, those open up. And it's putting a 4-coat acrylic surface over top of the tennis and basketball courts and striping them. We had $50,000 allocated towards this project from the capital account this year. And the low bid that we got 3 bids on June 5th. The low bid was Munson, and they were the company that did the tennis courts at Regner last year. They've done other work for the city before with tennis courts and things. Excuse me. So we know that they're a good company, and we would like to award it to them for $40,000. There's one other thing that we're going to have them do that we probably will need a change order for is we have to move the fence between the basketball and the tennis courts over because there's a big crack right there. So we will have them restretch that fence and put it back when they're all finished. So there's money left in the budget to do a change order for that. That's about the only one I could think of that we would have to do a change order for. So.
Okay, do we have a motion on the floor?
Second.
Okay, any questions for Cindy? If not, okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Being no further business before the Board of Public Works, I adjourn.
Thank you. All right, I'll call to order the City of West Bend Common Council meeting for June 15th, 6:30. With all aldermen are present and accounted for, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We just make sure we all use mics tonight. I got some comments from people that certain members are hard to hear, so like guys in the front 2 rows, maybe shoot your voice at the mic.
Thanks for the feedback. All right, we have 15 items on our agenda, with the first one being approval of the minutes from the Common Council regular meeting of June 1st, 2020. If I could have a motion.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motion second. Any discussion or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. And then if we can have a motion to consent the agenda, which consists of items 2 through 10.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to agenda items for consideration. Item number 11, operator's license for Divine Welch.
Motion denied.
Second.
It's been a motion second. I'll just open it up if there's any other discussion or comments or questions for Ms. Welch. Alderman Dolnick.
I had a question for the chief, which I asked earlier, but just came to me at the meeting. Does West Bend have a process where there's like a window of so many years from the last run-in with a legal issue? Some of the communities have like a 3-year window.
We follow the guidance that the League of Municipality put out, and that we followed for a number of years, which is we go back 5 years
Okay.
for violations. And generally, if there's 2 or more violations for the new members of the council, it's been our policy to pass on information if it's under the new state guidance. If it's 2 or more of those violations within 5 years, we give that information, or 1 felony. Okay.
Are there any other questions or comments? Are you speaking as a reference for her, or? Sure, I'll allow that.
How you guys doing? My name is Bill Welch. So,
Do you mind stating your address too? We got your name and address.
704 East Decorah Road,
Thank
West
you.
Bend. So, you know, that report that the officer read, you know, that does not define my daughter. That report doesn't tell you guys that she helped me raise her, you know, her brothers when her mother passed away when she was 7 years old. It doesn't tell you that she volunteers with her aunt who runs the Street Angels homeless organization in Milwaukee. She worked very, very hard these last 4 months to get the position that she has at this restaurant. She doesn't drink. She goes to classes. She's doing everything that she's supposed to be doing. And I hate to see for you guys to knock her back down when she's trying to go forward. I know you guys got rules and everything that you need to follow and whatever else, but you know, the way the world's going nowadays, man, things got to change, man. You guys, I'm just asking you guys to have a heart for her. She is trying her best to come out of a situation that she had no control over her whole life. Me and her mother, she had no control over the situation she come out, but she graduated high school. She's working 2 jobs. She's a very good young lady. And I just want to tell you guys that. So,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I saw Alderman Kaler, and then I'll go to Alderman Kennedy.
Yeah, Coach, in the past, we've done some of these. Is there a way that if there's an infraction within the first year or 2, we can automatically revoke that license?
No. We have to go through the revocation process if that happens.
So if we were to grant her a license and she had an infraction in 6 months, there's no process for us to revoke that?
We would have to have a hearing, just like we would any other license.
But we could have a
Yeah,
hearing?
like, we'd have to get a court reporter here and have a full, like, evidentiary hearing and stuff. That's why the granting of a license is such a.
I thought in the past we were able to do that if there was an infraction. How long is the license?
Revocation or non-renewal, even non-renewal. If we non-renew a license that had been previously granted, we have to, it's essentially revocation and we have to follow that
How
same
long is the
process.
license good for? 1 year?
2 years.
2 years.
Can I say one more thing, please?
Just seconds here. Alderman Kennedy.
Yeah, I just ironically was at Crimmers a few weeks ago, and Miss Welch was my server. She did a great job. She was very professional. I never would have imagined a background, you know, that you've had issues. This is for Crimmers. It is a restaurant. She's a server. It's mainly food. This is not one of our hotspot bars that's open till 2 in the morning. I mean, I don't think a lot of people go there and get boozed up. I understand that the license is for liquor at any establishment she'd be able to work at, but it seems like she is making an attempt to do the right things. You know, I don't know how long, I know she said 4 months sober. I don't know if there's counseling or other things she's attending right now that, can she?
I do have
Do you mind coming up to the microphone so we can hear you?
I do have 9 months of probation left as well. I have been in AODA counseling since I've been on probation. I am, since my OWI, I will be in more AODA counseling. once I'm in that counseling and I have my license back, I'll have a breathalyzer in my car for a year. And like I said, I've been sober since I've had that DUI, and that was the last straw for me. So
It's great to hear. Alderman Allen and then Butchlick.
I have a question for the chief.
Yep.
Which of these are misdemeanors, which are,
There's no felonies. These are either misdemeanors or municipal violations. There's no felonies.
okay, second one would be, Ms. Welch mentioned an OWI. Which one of these would be the OWI?
That's the very last conviction. The one she was stopped February 11th of this year. Failed a field sobriety test, and she was convicted on June 4th, so a week and a half ago.
Am I missing that? I'm looking at the report.
If the last conviction might not have been done when this report was done,
That would explain it.
I apologize for that. It was put on as at that time for information, and I might not have updated it. I have it on my report. I apologize if you didn't have that one. Because we can only use the convictions, so at that time, when I did this report, I might not have had that conviction. I might have just had the arrest on there.
And the date of that?
The date of the arrest was February 11th. The date of the conviction was June 4th.
February of this year?
Yes.
that is why I've been sober for only 4 months, because that was the last straw for me.
All right, Alderman Butchlick.
Yes, Mr. Welch, I have a question. If your license is not approved by us, does that mean you're going to lose your job at Crimmers?
Most likely, yes. And that's why I'm here fighting. That's why I have 2 notes from both of my jobs. I'm really trying. I'm really trying.
Yeah, I understand. I guess my heart goes out to, I know you're trying real hard.
I know, and I appreciate you guys for listening.
I have a hard time because of just the recent
I know.
one. But I know you will find, if you do lose this job, I know you are strong enough and you will find another job, and I wish you a lot of luck. And if you come back next year, believe me, you will have my vote for your approval. I want to give you a year to make sure that you are really sincere about what you're doing. And, good luck with you. God bless you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? If not, we do have a motion on the floor to deny, so I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of denial signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Stephanie, can I have a roll call?
Alderman Butchlick?
Aye.
Alderman Allen?
Aye.
Alderman Berquist?
Aye.
Alderman Kaler?
No.
Alderman Dolnick?
Aye.
Alderman Hoogaster?
Aye.
Alderman Model?
Aye.
Alderman Kennedy?
No.
Motion carries to deny the license 6-2.
All right. Well, we apologize, Ms. Welch, that didn't go your way, but please maintain that sobriety, build on keeping a clean record moving forward, and as Alderman Butchlick said, we'd be happy to see you next year. Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to item number 12, discussion of 4th of July celebration. I'll just start with, I know department heads, Administrator Chambeau, there's been a lot of discussions and conversations in the background leading up to this. We've definitely heard the outcry from the public, and we believe that we've responded accordingly while also keeping in mind of the health issues that are currently going on around the world. So with that, I'll kick this over to start with Administrator Chambeau to discuss the recommendations, and then we'll go from there.
Great. As the mayor mentioned, the recommendation for moving forward with fireworks is coming to you from several staff meetings of department heads, Police Chief Boiler and Fire Chief Hudek, along with Kenny Asselin within his department. Parks Department, Jackie is here, and Mike would have been here because application this week, has been reviewing this, monitoring what other municipalities have been doing and the conversations that they've had that have led them to their yes or no to move forward with fireworks. The main goal was to provide a safe operations as much as possible plan and a safe launch site. And I believe that the plan that Mike Yench and Chief Moyler have put into place, along with the fire department's guidance, is that. They are proposing to recommend the fireworks move forward. We are recommending the fireworks move forward and having them at Riverside again. There were a lot of sites that were explored throughout the process, throughout the last few months, to move the fireworks to another site, and we all kept coming back to Riverside as being the place. There are a lot of public parking lots around the Riverside area, so the proposal is to close the park. The park will be closed as of July 4th at 6 a.m. Riverside, the entire park, and Mike has expressed the concern and complications with closing a 100-acre park, but is committed and dedicated to do so. So he has 4,000 linear feet of snow fence planned and an additional 1,000 feet of caution tape. Thanks to Washington County in advance for borrowing us some of that snow fence. They've agreed to do that for us this year. And certainly thanks to Mike, Jackie, and their team to get that in place in order for us to provide the fireworks to the residents and constituents in West Bend. There will be no ground display. The ground display that has occurred in the past will be redirected up, so the residents can enjoy the fireworks from their home, if at all possible, if they live nearby, or from one of our nearby, again, public parking lots. I have been in contact with Washington County. They often receive, the PAC and the courthouse proper often receives many people visiting and parking in their lots, and so they're aware of that and have no concerns with that. The school district as well is aware that there might be some individuals parking in the school district lots, and Don Kirkgard shared that he didn't see any concerns with that either. We have ample public parking lots downtown West Bend, and they're big blue Ps that show people where to go to find parking if they can't view it from their own home. So fireworks will be broadcasted live on our cable channel as well. I know Jackie's been working with the local radio station as far as coming up with some music in advance, and John will be broadcasting for cable TV. So if somebody wanted to have a party in their backyard and just shoot it on the big screen, they can enjoy fireworks from their own home as well. There will be no Regner Park activities that day, and the parade itself is not being recommended to move forward as well, so we're canceling those two items. But again, having the fireworks is something that staff, and I know Mayor Jenkins, when he was in attendance at some of those meetings, felt strongly about and really pushed staff to try to find a way. Thankful that Horicon Bank has been with us throughout all along. I know Jackie's been the main contact with them, and they have been receptive to all of the changes that are being proposed, and I'm thankful that fireworks are still going on or recommended to be going on in the city of West Bend for 2020. So that's really all I have. I know Chief and Jackie are here. If you have specific questions about the operations plan, they can offer more detail on that, but know that staff took this seriously and really found a way to, and I applaud them for that, finding a way to make this happen for 2020 in West Bend. It's good news.
Thank you. I'll open up for any questions and discussion. I saw Alderman Allen first, then Kaler.
Yeah, I guess the concern I got response from, I assume, constituents, because nobody bothered to identify themselves, but and I would encourage you, if you have the opportunity to contact your alderman, it would be helpful to put both a name and an address on your correspondence. But that aside, I had concerns on both sides of the issue. One, that we wouldn't do anything, and the other, that we would do something. The concern I have is what response are we planning if, 100 people decide to break down the fence to get into Riverside Park to watch the fireworks up close and personal? In other words, I assume we're going to take some response,
We'll look to Chief Weiler for that.
if anything.
Well, two things. The park's closed, and we take the same response when parks are closed now at 10 or 11 o'clock. We take enforcement action. If you're saying that there's going to be that larger group of people that are going to somehow protest and come into the park, then the fireworks won't be shut off. So they can come into the park, and I guess they'll ruin the fireworks for everybody else that is being responsible. But that was what was decided, that and I will just tell you that I have faith that the citizens of West Bend and others that would respect what we're trying to do, and I don't anticipate that being a problem.
I guess as a minor follow-on to that, are we expecting more than just our normal residents of West Bend and the immediate environs to come here now that so many of the public fireworks displays have basically canceled?
Well, I think that's hard to tell, but we are stressing that this is for our citizens, and it's for the people that live in the area and that can go to the public lots and be responsible. I imagine some people will come from out of the area. I don't, there's no way to know that. But there's only so much parking too, so I think people will understand that, and if it gets parked up, then I guess we block off a street and we tell people that we can't have any more people come in. But I think there's enough public parking to accommodate those people from those citizens in West Bend and the immediate surrounding area.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Kaler.
Just curious, do we approach Manitou or any of them, would their lot be available, or are they opposed to that?
They've historically closed their lot. I did reach out to Jim Green, their legal counsel, and he has put me in contact with somebody else, but I don't anticipate any change in their choice to close their lot.
Alderman Dolnick.
I heard from, I think, about 7 or 8 constituents, and they all said the same thing. They liked the fireworks, but they also understood that there would have to be some changes. And in fact, several of them specifically said they didn't expect that they'd be able to go into the park. So I don't see anything controversial about this at all. I think it's a good plan. And I bring it up because I think people are understanding of the realities that we're dealing with.
Thank you. Alderman Hoogister.
Yeah, I received quite a few text messages and emails from people. And luckily for me, they could give me their address and who they were. They all were in favor of, the way most of them put it, was salvaging something from the 4th of July. A lot of people knew the parade was canceled, the regular park activities were canceled. And we've been going through this for going on 3 months now, and we've got the, I forgot what they call it, the blueprint from the health department. And, I applaud the team that worked on this. One of the gentlemen I used to work for, one of the things he told me when you're trying to make a decision is you use common sense and sound professional judgment when looking at something. And I think that has been proven to have been used by the people that put this plan together. I also agree with what the chief, I think the citizens of West Bend pretty much followed everything we've asked them to do over the last 3 months. And if this is something we can do to make a little bit of their 4th of July normal, I am all in favor of doing it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Butch, Schlick, and then Kennedy.
Go first. Okay. I'm wondering, we're going to make a whole border around the park 4,000 feet and then we're gonna have people patrol to make sure nobody goes in there? Is that the plan, basically?
We'll work with the parks, but, yeah, I mean, it depends upon where, because there's some spots that just naturally they don't go into. But
Right.
the area that generally are entered, we assign an awful lot of manpower to the fireworks each and every year because we have crowds coming, so I don't anticipate that we're gonna even see a final plan that we're working on, but it'll probably be close to the same manpower. But yes, we will, in order to create, in our mind, less problems in case people don't get the message, because in the past, people set up tents as early as 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. So we will have some people monitoring, so if somebody does that, we'll tell them that it's not worthwhile, that they're not gonna be able to watch from there. So yes, we will have some patrol, it's part of our job. But like I said, we have a lot of people that work 4th of July fireworks now and other events.
Just, is the fear that people won't socially distance even though they're outside? Is that why we couldn't just, if people want to go to the park to watch, we encourage them to socially distance?
Yeah.
If people would like to watch from parking lots, we can give them XYZ parking lots as options. Obviously, people can watch from home if they can see. I just wonder if it's the best use of resources to just make sure that nobody goes in a park.
Well, we're gonna have to have people there regardless.
I understand
And the health department guidance, which we discussed at a previous meeting, was something that we as a city agreed to follow. But they, strongly advised to limit fireworks, and they're doing a similar plan in Kewaskum and Hartford. And when we were on a recent conversation with Kirsten Johnson from the health department, we ran this plan by her. She felt that it was following their guidance and was, in her mind, a smart plan. So she endorsed it, the plan that we are proposing.
Thank you. Alderman Butchlick.
I also received some of my constituents, and they all were in favor of the fireworks. Yes, they had some concerns, but because of the outside venue, that made a big difference. They felt that since they've been cooped up for the last 3 months, to just get outside and be able to celebrate our 4th of July fireworks was important to them. It's important considering what is going on in the past couple of weeks. I think we all need a little bit of this here again for our country. Our country is starting to have quite a few question marks, and I think to bring together people and using the social distance, and I believe we have a lot of people that are able to do that and are willing to do that. And I think we should have any problems. And again, Chief and the Park and Rec Department, I think it's a great start by closing the park. We don't have to worry about that. They can see it. And we're not going to have any ground display. It's strictly going to be air. You'll be able to see it from quite a few distances in West Bend. So I really think it is important for West Bend that they have the fireworks.
Any other comments or questions? Request.
I'd just like to thank all the constituents out there who have taken the time to send us emails and write us letters and just take a stand on this issue. I mean, it's important for them to be involved. It's one of the things I ran on when I ran for alderman, was we're all in this together, and this showed it because the people stepped up and communicated their thoughts and their desires and communicated it to us. Because remember, we're just one vote up here, but we represent our constituents. So it was a great thing to see all these responses. And even some against. There were quite a few people. It wasn't always for having the fireworks. I actually have some that said, let's not, because they're worried about the current situation. So it wasn't a done deal. They understood the situation and made decisions based on that. And again, I thank the team for making this an easy decision for us tonight by letting the going through with the plan to have fireworks, because I think we would have had some unhappy people if we would not have had them. So I guess the vote will show that it reflects on the team and the plan that they have put together. And I just want to thank them for that.
Alderman Allen?
Are you expecting a motion?
We do not need a motion. This is just a discussion. So if there's a general concession or consensus that we're all in favor, which it sounds like I hear, then that gives staff the appropriate measures to move forward. And I'll just add, I'll echo all the comments that we've heard here that that both in public and private, I had been pushing to make sure that the 4th of July festivities could continue in some fashion. I really feel it's important, especially in these times that we're celebrating the birth of our nation. It's a much needed respite from everything else that we've been going through. But I have every faith in the citizens of West Bend that they can be respectful and responsible, and I look forward to this being carried out. Thank you. So with that, if there's no further direction that you need,
Nope, we're good, thanks.
great. Then I'll move on to item number 13, a resolution approving CSM 20008, one lot certified survey map dedicating 50 feet of right-of-way located at South Main Street across from Spade Street by Home Path Financial LP, with a presentation by Business and Development Planner Jim Reinke. Jim.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm asking the council to consider a resolution for a certified survey map down on South Main Street. The certified survey map dedicates road right-of-way for South Main Street. This is a part of the development for the multifamily development that's going to be occurring down on that end of the city. So we're asking the council to acknowledge the right-of-way dedication and accept that as part of the development proposal.
Thank you. Any questions for Jim?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motion second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And then we'll move on to item number 14, ordinance to amend the 2020 comprehensive plan for the city of West Bend, Wisconsin, for a change in the recommended land use from two-family residential to commercial for approximately 0.16 acres of land located at 204 South 7th Avenue by Kettle Moraine Bible Church. And another presentation by Jim.
Thank you. This is a land use change to our 2020 comprehensive plan. Kettle Moraine Bible Church has requested a change in land use from two-family residential to commercial. The church is in the process of trying to sell the property, and they've had a few people interested in the property, but due to the way the building is constructed and the use that was previously in there, it doesn't really lend to a two-family use. So the church is requesting the city and the council and the plan commission to consider a land use change from the two-family to the commercial. If the council approves the ordinance tonight, the plan commission would be looking at the zoning change on the July meeting from RD2, two-family residential, to a B5 neighborhood office and business service district.
Thank you. Any questions for Jim? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. And if there's no other questions or comments, then all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. Thanks, Jim.
All right, thank you.
Then we'll move on to reports. Item number 15, a report by either Alderman Dolnick or Alderman Hoochster regarding the Plan Commission.
Several of the items that we had at Plan Commission were just covered. Most of the other items at Commission were fairly routine, but the one I would like to mention was we had the site plan approved for a little industrial building of 94,000 square feet, which is, of course, the Milwaukee Tool Project, which we're excited to see coming here.
Absolutely. Any questions for Alderman Dolnick?
Is there any timeframe yet on when they'll start construction of the Milwaukee School?
Jim, I know that was mentioned, and I don't recall what it was.
They were planning on, I believe, sometime in the next couple of months. I know we're waiting for some of the utility work to get done. They're wrapping up some, stuff on their ends with revisions to the site plan and some grading challenges that they're having. But I mean, I believe they're looking for the July or August.
The earliest that they would start is August, and there is a chance that due to the happenings that are going on in the world these days, that they would push it until April of 2021. We're hopeful that they start in August.
Thank you. If there's no other questions or business, I'll just open it up. If there's any announcements for the good of the order. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, maybe I'm missing a page. Sorry. You're right. There is another item. A report by Alderman Allen or Alderman Kaler regarding the Tourism Commission meeting. Sorry to exclude you guys.
That's all right. Randy wasn't able to make the meeting, but we had an agenda item to discuss the grants for the spring and summer. Of the 3 grants that were previously made, 2 of them have already canceled. So the one grant was for the German Fest. German Fest will be going forward on a much reduced basis. The funds are to support the public relations efforts of German Fest, so those funds will stay so that they can publicize their repurposed German Fest. We also scheduled a meeting to discuss at our next meeting, which will be in July 23rd. That we'll be looking at whether we were going to do something with the funds that we're not expending on the 2 canceled events. We also met and reviewed the Fall and Winter Tourism Commission grant applications. We awarded funds to 3 of the events. One is to the Downtown Diva Group and Downtown West Bend Association for the West Bend Winter Warm-Up in the amount of $1,000. We made an award of $1,500 for the Hugh Jass Flat Tire Bike Race Weekend. Say that a lot of times.
All right.
The third was the third award is to the Museum of Wisconsin Art for their Blooming Holidays 2020 in the amount of $6,000. And the meeting adjourned.
All right. Any questions for Alderman Allen? If not, now I'll move on if there's any announcements for the good of the order. Seeing none, I will adjourn by the call of the chair. Have a great night.